Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day today because if you're a fan of the Borderlands franchise and happen to be interested in picking up Borderlands 4 for the Nintendo Switch 2, you're probably not going to be having a very good day after this video, I'm just saying, because it just so happens that reports are coming out about Borderlands 4 running on the Switch 2 and apparently it's a disaster. You know, an Unreal Engine 5 game running like shit? I don't believe it. I mean, it's totally not like there's a pattern or anything of Unreal Engine 5 games always running like shit, having stutters, and relying on upscaling. That could never be the case. But anyway, yeah man, I made a video on this, I think a couple months ago at this point, saying that the Borderlands 4 port for the Switch 2 would run at 30 FPS with some dips, and I gotta be honest with you guys. After reading this article that we're going to go over today, I think we would be lucky to get 30 FPS half of the time on this game. Borderlands 4 is reportedly having a horrendous time on Switch 2. Yikes man, yet another Switch 2 port running like absolute ass.
That shit is a two-pack of ass!
I mean, personally, I'm not surprised at all, though, because Borderlands 3 ran like absolute shit on every platform, and, you know, Borderlands 4 is coming out now, and you kind of come to expect what you've been given in the past when it comes to gaming studios. Hell, I even remember back on the 360 with Borderlands 2, that game ran like shit, which I guess it was more excusable back then because the leap from the PS2 to the PS3 and the Xbox to the 360 was much bigger than generational leaps we see today, but still, to my knowledge, they've never made a good running Borderlands game, which studios are supposed to improve over time, but that's kind of a lost cause when it comes to modern gaming. One of the biggest selling points for the Nintendo Switch 2 is the ability to play AAA first-party titles on the go. While its predecessor could run tons of games, the big-budget prestige games always had to give the console a miss, with games like Elden Ring, Tarnished Edition, and Cyberpunk 2077 announced during its showcase. The Switch 2 staked its claim on these titles. However, the reality is a bit different. While Cyberpunk 2077 runs smoothly on the console, the Elden Ring port struggled so much that Bandai Namco didn't let those who tried it at Gamescom record footage. It seems another big title is also struggling on the console, perhaps due to its billion guns. Borderlands 4 is reportedly not doing too well on the Switch 2. Yeah, and this is gonna be a huge issue for the Switch 2, because the Switch 2, like, it's very early in its life cycle. The first year, and we're already seeing games struggle to run on it, even games that were created in 2022 like Elden Ring. What does that tell you about the future of big third-party releases on the Switch 2? It's probably going to be similar to the Switch 1 where they just can't get them running, or have to do massive downgrades like Hogwarts Legacy. Now, while it would be funny to put all the blame on the Switch 2, we do have to take into account that we're talking about an Unreal Engine 5 game here, and no developer on this motherfucking planet for some reason knows how to optimize with that engine, besides Fortnite and Valorant. And when it comes to Elden Ring, FromSoft is notoriously bad at optimization, so I mean, no surprises there. Borderlands 4 is reportedly having performance issues on Switch 2. According to Epic NNG on Twitter, Borderlands 4's Gamescom build on Switch 2 was facing massive FPS drops when several enemies appeared on screen. Okay, I'll just put it bluntly, they said, Borderlands 4 on Switch 2 could barely run at 30 FPS with 4 enemies on screen in docked mode. It had horrendous input delay, and the render resolution was seemingly turned all the way down. Yeah, and that just sounds terrible. I can tell you, as someone who played through the first 3 Borderlands games, that there are a lot of times when there's way more than 4 enemies on screen, and there's tons of weapons that cause tons of particles and stuff to fly around. And hearing that there's input delay is also terrible, considering we're talking about a first-person shooter here, where you gotta make tons of precise movements with your camera, and all of this in docked mode. I can only imagine what handheld is gonna run like. I mean, Jesus. Unreal Engine 5 and the Switch 2 paired together is like the Turbo AIDS combo, and I think they should just be forbidden to be paired together. But my question is, if the game is in this bad of a state, and you don't even want to show footage of it, why release it? You're borderline scamming people. That's the second high-profile port that's been having trouble on Switch 2, after Elden Ring. Unfortunately, this isn't solely Gearbox's fault, as Nintendo had been very stingy with developer kits for the consoles. Two popular games not running properly on the console could possibly lead to some people holding off on their Switch 2 purchases, as it's one of the main reasons to buy it. I mean, yeah, it's probably stopping some people from getting a Switch 2, but I think most people who are interested in the Switch 2 are getting it for Nintendo's first-party titles like Mario Kart and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure some people are holding off. You can see the tweet here that we just read out by Epic NNG. Over on Reddit, fans are pretty disappointed to learn that a couple of AAA games have been having issues on Switch 2. I mean, did they not learn anything from the Switch 1? It was the same way, and we can see even the Steam Deck is struggling with a lot of especially Unreal Engine 5 titles. So the fact that the Switch 2 is having these sort of troubles is not really shocking in the slightest to anyone with more than 3 brain cells. Hopefully, this is only a case of starting troubles and Nintendo and the devs can sort these issues by the time the game's release. Yeah, considering Borderlands 3, I highly doubt it, man. This isn't the only issue that Borderlands 4 is facing on the console. Like Baldur's Gate 3, both players will be required to own a copy of the game if you want to play split-screen co-op. Which, that just makes no fucking sense. Does anyone remember back in the day when you could actually play on your DS with Mario Kart DS, and someone on a different DS could actually play with you for free? Like, man, we used to have it so good. But in all honesty, the most shocking thing about all of this is the fact that there is split-screen co-op. Can you imagine how bad that shit is gonna run on the Switch 2? Like, just imagine both players using a gun that shoots out tons of particles at different points in the map, each with like 6 or 7 enemies on the screen. Your Switch 2 will fucking explode. I checked on Twitter and seen what other people were saying about this, and some people said they played the game early and it ran fine, and obviously we have the report we went over today where there's tons of performance issues. We will have to wait and see until Borderlands 4 actually comes out for the Switch 2 if these worries are justified, if this is true. But given Borderlands' track record, I think it's probably gonna run like shit. But I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Will you be getting Borderlands 4? Will you be getting it for the Switch 2? Do you think it's gonna run like shit? Part of me thinks it would be funny to stream and review this game, but part of me still doesn't want to support it. I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Anyway, yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and I'm out.